It started as a normal Monday morning for me. I was sitting in my cell, laying in my bed, repeatedly throwing my folded up socks in the air and catching them, thinking about the poor life choices I made. How I left my little brother alone, what I would do once I get out, how I would better myself. I was convicted of robbery 5 years ago, and I still had 3 more to spend in this cold, gray, fetid shithole. I felt like I was forced to do it. How else could I provide for my little brother? Ever since our mother passed away, we were constantly fighting for our survival. Our father was never in our lives to begin with. As I was pondering about my best options, what I could do to turn everything around once and for all, I heard the door opening. In came 3 guards, asking me to follow them. They led me to a room, somewhere on the other side of this huge complex. I stepped into a dim-lit room and was greeted by 2 men in lab coats, who at the same time wore pastor collars and huge crosses over their necks. "What the hell is going on here?" I asked, looking around confused about all this strange machinery in the room. "Well, Mr. Evans, I am going to be direct with you. We are currently working on understanding the afterlife, and we are inviting you to be our first test subject," one of the men told me. I was a little bewildered, but also intrigued and asked them to go on. "We will inject you with a deadly toxin and revive you 5 minutes later. And since you are a convicted criminal, we expect you will end up in hell." My confusion grew into anger and disbelief, but at the same time, I never believed in religion anyway, so I didn't have to fear anything, right? They promised me freedom and money if I'd made it back, and even more money for my remaining relatives if I wouldn't. That's when I started thinking about my brother, how this was my chance to make up for all the things I did wrong in the past. He deserved a better life. Our mother raised him so well. In fact, he got all the benevolent characteristics of her. I don't know how I wound up as such a mess. So I agreed, and they laid me down on this medical bed. As they injected me with the toxin, I could feel my soul drifting away. It was a cozy, warm feeling. Looking at the scientist, I blinked, and when I opened my eyes again, I found myself in a dark void, fully aware of the situation. I couldn't believe it. I was actually dead and in the afterlife. This doesn't look much like hell, though. Shouldn't there be, like, a lot of fire and flowing lava or something? I thought to myself. That's when I heard someone screaming in the distance. I ran over to investigate and I completely froze. It was David, a former friend of mine. He was chained up, being repeatedly dipped into boiling water. His screams became fainter and fainter, and his face more melted every time he was raised out of the water. He stole a car and died in a crash when he was fleeing from police. Is this what my fate is? He just stole a car, and I robbed a jewelry store and threatened the employee with a gun. If he got this punishment, what will be mine? But then I saw what was dipping him into the water. Those creatures. They don't look anything like the demons depicted in our paintings. They have this constant smile like it's carved into their face, but also a look of pain in the eyes. Their bodies are white and leathery, with a hunched walk. They danced around the pool in a circle, and the sound they made, oh God, the sound. At this point, I was just waiting for the 5 minutes to be over, promising myself to do everything to save myself from this place. Then, I heard someone calling for me. I turned around. It was my mother, strung up on a pole. These things, narrowing in on her with axes and torches. I began screaming at the top of my lungs, "Back the fuck up! Leave her alone! She doesn't belong in hell!" I shouted desperately with tears going down my face. I started running at these creatures knowing damn well I had no chance to hold them off. One of them quickly turned around and jumped at me, holding me to the ground. Oh, there is no hell, and there is no heaven either. This is where everyone goes when they die. It said with its low, vibrating voice, smiling at me inches from my face. As it raised its axe to swing down on me, I was revived. I woke up, unable to move but wanting to scream and smash everything to pieces. "What did you see?" the men in coats asked me. As I slowly gained my ability to move, I realized there was no way they'd let me free if I told them the truth. No one should ever find out about this. Nothing. I didn't even realize I was dead. I responded, fighting back the urge to cry. How disappointing. But thank you for your cooperation, and as promised, you will be out by tomorrow. The man told me. I called my brother as soon as I stepped out of prison. I told him how I got out, but now what I saw. I don't want to crush all hopes and dreams of this boy. With the money I got, I bought a house for us too. He applied to a college last week. Life is going great, and sometimes I even forget about the horrors that await me. But every time I do something where I have a small chance of dying, every time I cross the street, every time I drive my car, I hear them calling my name. They are waiting for me. They are waiting for all of us.